I have a little bit of time on my hands right now, so what I'm thinking about doing right now is mount the tail, put the riser on, mount the elevator, and after that I'm gonna see if I have time to put the screws in and do a mock-up. Just pretty much, let's see if we can have a plane or something that looks like a plane by the end of this half an hour. For this purpose, I'm working on a composite pod setup, and the composite pod, the way the composite pod works is just the boom goes on the back of it. It's going to be glued on, and you get a Kevlar thread and just wrap it around in the front so it prevents it from splitting up during the high forces when you throw it real hard. Okay, so what I'm thinking about doing, I'm thinking about just putting the rudder in position and putting the elevator in position, and after that I'm gonna glue this joint, because I can turn it around like this until I get it nice and level, and in the same time I can put the wing on and bolt it on at the same time. So I have the wing bolted on, I have the vertical, the horizontal in place, and that way you can align everything in one shot and you can finalize this glue joint over here. The same thing happens when you have a wood pod. The boom should be floating between the two aluminum blocks, and the last thing that you do after you mount your wing on, you align everything on and you just do the final glue joint for the booms. Anyways, I'm gonna start with the rudder to install the rudder. And what you want to do with the rudder, get the scrap piece of wood first. And what you want to do, you want to cut a piece that copies the shape of the boom. And what I'm doing, basically, just ram the back of the boom through like this. And here's your piece. If you want to, you can sand it off a little bit, it's fine. And you can double check to make sure it fits nicely. It should fit inside without seeing too much light, or actually no light at all. So we're going to need 2 of these, and I'm going to just cut 2 of them right now. Just what you're doing, just let me change directions here. You just push it right through. And the boom is going to act like a knife. There's your piece. Try to do it on a soft piece of wood, probably the lightest, the softest, lightest piece of wood you can find. Any scrap is going to work out just fine. So I'm just going to take some, the medium CA. Just going to put some glue in there. Drop the piece in position. And just push it down. I don't care if it's too big. It's really irrelevant right now. It's too big on one side. It's perfectly flush. Really doesn't matter. Number 2. I'm pushing with my thumb down and use the blade for the other side as a support. And after that you can take some Q-tips and just take the excess off. Okay. I'm going to take my blade now and using this edge as a reference, I'm just going to cut. It's a rough cut. So I'm not trying to cut straight across. I'm going on a slight angle. I want to be safe. I'm going to cut this side too. And right now what I'm going to do, I'm going to carefully cut until I touch both sides at the same time. You can even sand it to size, but I think you can just cut like this just fine. Should be easy. My eyesight is really letting me down right now. I'm having a tough time focusing on this. I'm almost seeing double. It's funny. So I'm kind of feeling my way around rather than seeing it. I should be grateful I'm not a blind man, I guess. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go inside there where the boom ends with an X-Acto knife. Use a blade. I'm gonna clear that area too. A little bit of sanding. I'm gonna get the back of it nice and flush. And basically it stays by itself, which is pretty good fit. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get my boom and center it over here. Any place just good. So it's centered. Now I'm looking on both ends here, and they look right smack down center. And I'm rotating so I make sure that I'm at 90 degrees here. So now I give me a good shot that I'm in position. I'll take a Sharpie. The sharper the Sharpie, the better it is. So You may want to use a brand new Sharpie on for this one, for this operation. And I'm gonna mark the edge on both sides. And after you do that, you can take a straight edge and complete the lines. That's one. And we're gonna remove the covering around here. Also, we want to make sure that we need to have some clearance to about here. That's actually where the slot in the boom ends, over there. And probably you want to be about, leave yourself at least 1/8 of an inch from the back side, because you want to put a hinge material in here so you can hinge the rudder in place, and I think it's going to be perfect like that, and that looks pretty good. Okay, so in essence we are going to glue on this surface right here. This is where we're gonna have the glue joint, and also we're gonna glue in here and over there. Now I'm gonna put the boom back on. Align it, and I'm just going to cheat this time around. So I'm just going to line it to the other side. Draw my lines. And I can repeat it for this side too. Okay. You probably want to draw the lines all the way through. So what I'm going to do, I really want to remove this area here, or at the very least you want to cut 2 slots in here, because when you push this through, these slots needs to go in between the tops, outside of the boom and the inside of the boom. Really, it's, to be honest, I would just cut it out because it's extra weight. And before we do any cutting, what I would do is just I just put a bunch of little holes in here alongside the line. And I'm going to use these holes to insert some thin CA, so the laminating film is not going to come off. Obviously you can use a pin if you want to for this. And a thin CA. Alright, so I've got a few drops of CA and I'm going to start cutting this off. Cut it down. Anyways, when you cut the center section, you want to start on one end, cut inside, go to the other end, cut inside. You don't want to risk slipping in and cutting stuff that you don't want to cut. This is what you're looking for, something like that. Now, what I'm going to do, I want to use a Dremel tool, and if you can imagine, when this is going to slide forward into the slot, right, this carbon fiber rod needs a place to go, right? So what I need to do, I need to cut a little slot here right down the center, and I'm going to use the Dremel tool for that. So when I slide my rudder in, I'm going to have the carbon fiber rod has a place to go. And what I found out, and I'm thinking, if you keep the carbon fiber in one piece versus cutting it all the way down here in those corners, it's going to have a lot more structural integrity. It's going to keep this relatively stiff and rigid. So this is definitely one of the additions that I'm making on this model. In the past I used to cut it off, but I think it was a mistake. And well, sometimes you make mistakes. You learn as much from your mistakes as you learn from the good stuff you do. So I'm just gonna cheat a little bit, cut a piece. I'm gonna wrap it all the way around this. Like that. And I'm gonna take a piece of scrap. So we have some leftovers in here. I'm gonna insert it on the back. And I guess I'm gonna use this as a reference to draw my lines on the paper, of course. So that's one. Two. I'm going to switch positions. And I want to find out how deep do I want to go with it. And it's gonna go to here. I'm just gonna draw it around. So I'm doing this way because I want to stay just about 1/8 inch away from the end. I'm gonna use that 1/8 inch again. I'm saying I'm gonna use that 1/8 inch to put a hinge line all the way to the bottom. I don't have interruption in a hinge line over there. I think it's very important. So I'm just using a simple cutting wheel, and I'm just gonna, you wanna look straight down and try to follow it right down the center. And you can push the boom sideways a little bit to open up the slot. Let's see if we have a fit. Oh man, this is beautiful. It fits perfectly. Now, I need to plan ahead a little bit. since my stabilizer is gonna be on the top, and this is for a right-handed person, that means my control horn is gonna go on this side. So I need to exit the wires on this side to go to the control horn. And this is a very good time to do this operation, because of later on you're gonna have quite a bit of difficulties to do that. So what I'm doing is just going again with a cutting wheel. I'm just gonna put a little slit in here. Again, I'm going back and forth a little bit like that. And if you want to, you can even check it with a piece of Teflon to see if it's gonna go in. There you go, it's perfect. Alright, so we are set with a Teflon for the Teflon tube as well. I'm cutting the doculam out in this area because I wanna glue wood to wood. You don't wanna glue it to this thing, because you're gonna end up with a bad glue joint that's gonna slip out on the first flight you make. Alright, and one final check. I have a little bit of a gap in here, but that's fine. And we're gonna fill it in with epoxy in the gap. Alright, just gonna take some sandpaper. I wanna rough this area out. This is the area where the epoxy is gonna go. Just like that. This is 5 minutes. That's all I need. It's a relatively quick operation. When you mix epoxy, when you think you have it mixed up, mix a little bit more. On the other side. That's it. Slide it in. I'm going to use a Q-tip to clean it off. Use your one side of the Q-tip, then use the other side. Use a fresh Q-tip for the other side. 1, 2. That's looking pretty good. That's the rudder. So I'm going to put the rudder on the side to cure.